To think, if you think about this, there's the opportunity in there, but there's a danger inherent in if you do that too. And trust me, the state knows this. If you educate every child to their potential, what's the danger?
Might overthrow.
Listen to this. What is it?
Too many people can think.
And when you get too many people that can think,
You can't oppress them like you want to.
that's right. That's what happened in Egypt a 3 years ago. He had all those college graduates with no jobs. And they could think.
With a lot of free time.
With a lot of free time. They could think. And they overthrew the state they believed. That's the problem with the state. It's like fly picking. Can't shake it off. And so what happens is these institutions begin to fail you. They produce shock and awe. Shock and awe. That is dissonance. You're shocked by something and awed of it at the same time. There was a state called cognitive dissonance. That's holding two opposing thoughts. And it creates something inside that I call emotional dissonance. Two emotions that go along with the two thoughts. And partner, you got trouble because you know what happens? Darren, can you come up a minute and hold this? When you hold two opposing thoughts and two opposing feelings, you know what just happened to you folks? You just got induced into hypnosis. Because that is how a hypnotist induces you into hypnosis. It's not by relaxation, it's by getting you to hold two opposing thoughts. I took the courses to learn how to do it, and I was amazed that that's how they do it. And once you are in a point of hypnosis, you know what they offer then? Suggestion. Suggestion. But when they limit your options, because one of the things I know about shock is shock limits options. That's what people with post-traumatic stress disorder are suffering with. But I'm suggesting that you're not even suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm suggesting that we're suffering from continuous traumatic stress disorder brought on by vicarious and direct trauma. And if it ain't direct, you look at the news every day, and I've been looking at it every day, and the lead-in is always somebody gets shot, somebody gets stabbed, somebody gets raped, somebody gets robbed. Every day, 7 days a week. That's just the lead-in. We ain't even got to the national. And so, here you have your institutions, and this is how they're firing off on you. Everybody give you life.
Me.
I heal you.
I will.
I school you. I'm a school you. I'm a school you. I heal you. I'm a school you. I'm a school you. Go to school. I'm a school you. I'm a school you.
The state.
Bring
The state.
Sabbath free.
Me.
You see this? You see this?
Me.
The individual is lost. The individual is lost. The places that the individual is gone for support, they've now gotten betrayed. It's called institutional betrayal. Where do you go for support? Where does the caregivers go for support? Because I know if you're a caregiver in this city, and you're facing what I know that comes at you in this city, I know you need some support. You're overwhelmed with the issues because you're supposed to be overwhelmed with the issues. Because where is that pyramid?
You serve me.
Because that's how it's designed to be. You must serve the few. There are no options for you unless you know the algebraic formula. How do you reunify the whole? How's it done? See, it's easy to say we need to, no doubt. I'd like to see it happen for real. But now I'm going to introduce you to the real construct. Hold it up. This is the construct, folks. You see it? See it?
Me.
I, you. That's what the construct is. This is it. It's been there all the time. It's not the pyramid. Pyramid doesn't exist. Everything exists because you hold it to be evident in your head. You co-created the construct because you were never taught how not to. Me too. I came in this thing innocent, blind, not knowing. And some people who didn't know did their best to navigate me through it. Their best. But how can your best go up against something that's over 12,000 years old? We keep talking about 400 years old. Man, this thing is older than 400 years old. You're just talking about the subjugation of African people. This thing goes back to Mesopotamia 12,000 years ago. It's had a long time to construct itself, but the construction is a mental thought and attitude. And the thought affects the emotions, and the emotions affects the thought. And you have a paradox, a conundrum, an enigma. And you can't talk your way out of it. So what do? Same thing, over and over. And that is a description of what we call insanity. We were deliberately driven insane because I want somebody right now to tell me, how can you prove to me that this system, this construct we live in is sane? How? Tell me how can this many people in this city be below the poverty level with the crime rates and everything we suffer, and you tell me this is a sane system? How can we fail our children over and over again and convince me that that's sane? So we blame the parents, we blame the children. No. I have to give an accounting to myself. I have to be accountable to me. So if this is the construct, how do you deconstruct? Because the only way to tackle this thing, I love to unite with black people. I've been trying it 20 years. No, I've been trying it longer than that. Really, truly. I can't, some of my stories are illegal. I can't even tell you. Statute of limitations ain't off yet. About me trying to help so-called black people, statute of limitations ain't off for some things I've done. But just like if you understand what happened to the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army and all those people, when you find out, when you bring people together, they bring this with them. That mental attitude, they bring it with them. And if you don't know how to help them deconstruct that, you get infected. If any of y'all ever saw the movie The Matrix, Agent Smith comes right in your midst. And the killing part about it, they don't know it. Because all of us have a faction of Agent Smith already in us. And the only thing I've seen that was effective is this. Intervention via initiation. Now, I ain't talking about no initiation when you go into a fraternity or sorority. And I've been a member of quite a few fraternities, not on the college level, but Masonic order. I've done most of them, including the Shriners. That's not what I'm talking about. You see, the word initiation comes from the word ignition, which comes from the word ignite. That means to start something. And you got to have some people that have already started it to see what works and what doesn't, to have went down a trail or pathway inside to see what dangers come up. Where Agent Smith comes in. What are the antidotes to Agent Smith? and to do that in a safe, respectful way. That has to be done, and that takes practice, it takes learning, it takes a lot of money. And that's what the Underground Railroad Odyssey is about. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. It is about helping you. That's all the teacher does is point out. You got some educators in here. Educators, and then all you do is point out.
That's all you can.
That's all you can do. That's the best you can do. That's what the word teach means, to point. It's up to the student, the pupil, to take in the information and what they do with it. And so what we do is we point out, and we don't tell you anything. We ask you. You know what? You already know. You knew when you hit the planet. It was encoded in your system. It was encoded, and it had to be taught out of you. You had to be taught how not to see, how not to care, how not to hear. When you walk in and you know something's wrong with this. When I walked in the first grade and said, Miss Howard, I need to use I said, oh, I got up to go use the restroom. She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the bathroom. She said, sit down. And I went, sit down, dude. She said, sit down. You didn't ask. Come on now. Let's get real. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know you're going to tell me, well, you know, in order to keep control and order, you have to have it. I said, that doesn't make any sense. That's a bodily function. It must happen because I am going to eliminate. I have to ask your permission, and she told me no. She made me wait until she was ready for me to go. Some of you have seen it. Come on now, get real. This lady's a school teacher. She doesn't do that, thank God. Come on, Simone. See that? She's a master educator. So right away, when we get there, they start chipping away at our souls. We need soul healing, folks. We need to reunite the soul, at least I think, to reunite it, to put it back in its rightful order. And that is to question everything that's happened to me. To shine the light of understanding on it. To make sure my emotions are congruent to what the reality is. So now I want to open up the room for questions, comments, no debate. Ain't nothing for me to debate. I'm not suggesting I'm right about everything. Just that's another way of doing it instead of, I don't have to learn through argument anymore. I thought that was the way to learn, but I learned that's a crazy way for me to learn. And I don't have to answer any of your questions. It can be to anybody within the members of Inward Journey. Would you hold your hand up so they can see? Anybody in here. Let me say this first and foremost. I am a member in good standing of Inward Journey. That's it. There is no leader here. We don't have a president, a chairman, what do you call it? A guru, a sergeant at arms. We got 3 rules. That's it. Those are our bylaws, our rules, is everything. 3. That's it. So I ain't hearing that you got to have that pyramidal structure to get things done. Because I've seen this group get things done so fast it makes your head swim. Because they don't have a pyramidal structure. They don't have the big boss at the top. We have a tribal council. There's no chairman. There's equal amount of females and males. Notice I didn't say men and women. I said females and males. We've been together 20-some years now. Out of those 20-some years, there's never been one vote that failed male against female. Not one time. So I can't buy that it can't be done. I know better. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I'm not suggesting that that's the way for everybody. Anytime anybody says this is the way and the only way, you just met a dictator. You better run. I'm suggesting we have a way, a solution. I'm suggesting you got many more. So, any questions, comments, statements? Declaration. What's that other thing that Lincoln passed? Proclamation.